Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
First things first, I wondered what you think the secret is of stop motion and why we continue to be in thrall of it.
For me, I know what it is for me. I think it's like this strange alchemy of touching on aspects of your childhood when you're a kid and you play with your toys and you imagine them coming to life. It's got an element of that. I think as a filmmaker, it's real light on real objects, which is really hard to replicate in the computer or anywhere, really, because there is an imperfection to reality. If you think about like a handmade costume on one of these puppets, every little fiber, every bit of stitch is catching the light and light is bouncing off it, and it's real life. And I think that's what's compelling about it. When you watch something like that, it feels like these inanimate objects have properly come to life. And I think there's something truly magical about that. There's a real tactility about it.
Right, and so therefore do you feel as though technology is aiding that process? Because in some ways, I suppose, our go-to point is to think of stop motion as being sort of an older form, but technology is helping that process perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are plenty of people who enjoy that old-fashioned aspect of stop motion, and there is a beautiful charm to it. But I always think that any medium in film, you don't want it to just stagnate. You don't want it to sit still. And if there are technological advancements that you can use, that you can utilize to advance the form, use them. For me, I just want to put the best looking image, the best looking frame on the screen, and I'm by no means a purist. I will use whatever trick I can get my hands on to make it the best it can be.
And so speaking of thinking about that and of using that to tell this story, but how long when were the seeds of this story planted, and how long was the gestation period?
At least 15 years ago, I think, was the original idea. I wanted to do kind of like an old-fashioned stop-motion adventure movie, kind of like an Indiana Jones style thing, but in stop motion. And then I kind of just kept going back to the idea over the years and throwing more things into it. And it was actually at the end of Paranorman when Travis Knight said to me, what do you want to do next? And I had all these ideas in notebooks, and I thought, now's the time to do this. I think the technology is there in order to make a movie of this scale in stop motion. And it also felt very different from what we've been doing before at the studio, the tone of it, the look of it. So it felt like it was creatively something new for us.
So it felt at the right time.
Yeah.
Does this seem like an installment because it feels as though when you say it's a big project and you're thinking about the technology arriving at the time and so forth, that it ends at a point where it seems quite overtly to be saying, well, this is part one really of a franchise potentially. Is that in mind?
I hope people love it. I hope people want to enjoy spending time with these characters, because I love these characters. And if that means them going on more adventures, I'm all for it. Yeah. But it was also kind of part of that. It's that kind of movie that has that kind of ending. That the point of the movie is these guys coming together. So presumably their future is all about adventures together. So it felt like the right note to end the movie on. Yeah. I hope I didn't spoil the whole movie there.
I hope I didn't then, by leading you into it.
Yeah, the characters don't die.
Also, the other thing I suppose I have to think about when you say about it's been a long time coming in terms of bringing this story, and just the whole sort of environment now and the sort of social attitudes, and when it comes to humour, and bearing in mind this is, I suppose, predominantly for children, audience first, and then it transposes and transfers onto adults as well. Do you have to worry about sensitivities, and humour, and is there greater conflict now behind the scenes in saying, oh, well, we can say this, or we need to make sure that we cover this, and think about all the angles in case you get criticised?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have that in mind. You would be remiss if you weren't considering that when you were putting it together. I think perhaps as a studio we are maybe a little more daring in some of the subject matter we touch on, which is cool. I like that. But yes, I think, you know, you're making entertainment. It's art, but you're supposed to be entertaining. So you do want it to be palatable for a broad audience. You don't want it to offend, you know. So you've always got to have those things in mind.
Yeah, and it's not me sort of alluding to you saying that you have transgressed in any way. I should say that. But no, congratulations on the film.
Oh, thank you.
For your time. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.